Hey everyone! So at this point we have done the dissection of the worm. Today you're going to take a deeper dive at the digestive system. So you're going to look at all the organs in the digestive system. You're going to know what they do. You're going to see what they look like. Make sure you take a look at the picture that I attached because the earthworm dissection is not the greatest visuals from what you can see from my computer screen and all that. So make sure you do take a look at the pictures that I do have attached for you. Keep in mind as we go through today the big idea. So the big idea is to be able to eventually compare and contrast some different organisms, but how they obtain, use, transport, and excrete energy. All right, since we got to excretion, yesterday's word of the day was nephridium. Nephridium is similar to the kidney in vertebrates, so it's going to excrete some metabolic waste. It's going to help with like urine and stuff, get rid of some extra water and some hormones and basically toxins and stuff like that. The earthworm does not have kidneys. Instead, it has nephridium. So kidneys are the word of the day for today. Kidney, K-I-D-N-E-Y. All right? And I want to know what they do and their responsibilities and who has them and who doesn't. And can you live with it without them and all of that stuff. So those questions will be at the end. So there's that. Also at the very end of the dissection, I will, after you go through the digestive system, I'll review the external anatomy and kind of the overview of everything. And then today's questions at the end are also, there's kind of some survey questions to see how you want me to do the dissection of the frog. I really value your guys' input. And if you want me to do it the same setup, if you want something a little bit different, any of that is good stuff. Also, there's some other random kind of survey questions in there just because sometimes we just need to have some fun. So that's all I have for you. So you're going to move on to the rest of the earthworm dissection. All right, see you guys. All right. We have talked about the worm in terms of like what it eats. And so it's a detrivore. So it's going to eat enormous amounts of soil where there are dead and decaying plants and animals. Once the food enters the worm's mouth, it's going to then move to the pharynx. The pharynx is a muscle that's going to push the food into the esophagus. From the esophagus, the food is stored in a crop. The crop is kind of like a pantry. So you store your food in your pantry before you're ready to eat it. From there, it moves to the gizzard. The gizzard, so it's kind of cool. I'll show you the gizzard. The gizzard kind of looks like a white pea. It's very hard on the outside, and there is like sand granules on the inside of it to help digest or kind of like churn up the food, kind of like what your stomach would do. The gizzard acts as the stomach. Once the food is in the gizzard, it then travels to the intestine. It's going to go from the intestine out of the worm via the anus. So the longest section of the digestive system is going to be that intestine, and that is where the food is going to be absorbed via the bloodstream, and that's how nutrients are going to get to the entire worm, similar to how our small intestine works. The worm is going to poop, or they call it castings, and it's eliminated through the anus. All right, we're going to kind of take a look here so I can show you what each of those pieces look like, and I will also, like I said, give you some other better pictures that are a little more colorful than this bland-looking worm. All right, so here is the mouth, and then this here is the pharynx, which is that muscle. You can see the aortic arches here. They are covering up the esophagus, and then this right here is the crop. The crop is where the food is stored. Remember, like I said, it's like a pantry, and then it goes into the gizzard. The gizzard is hard. It's like a cartilaginous kind of ring here, and that's, like I said, it has that sand in it, and it's going to grind up the food, aka dirt, even more, and then it'll go to the intestine. The intestine's going to absorb the nutrients. It's going to go to the bloodstream. It's going to go down the intestine and then out the anus as worm castings or poop. Just a quick review here. I'm going to actually grab a fresh worm. I shouldn't say that. I should say another worm that I have in this really gross smelling chemical preservative. And I'll review here with you very quickly. Okay, so we have some external features. This worm has a mouth, and I know that this here is the mouth because I can see the clitellum right here, not too far down. And it has the anus. It has along the top of it, or along its back, it has the dorsal blood vessel. It also has a ventral blood vessel. The belly of the worm is usually way lighter in color, so here's the ventral side. It has the setae, which are those bristle-like things used for locomotion. I wish you could feel it. Just like go touch like a nail file, and you'll know exactly what it feels like. And then it also has on the outside these things called nephridium. Nephridium is your word of the day. I can't elaborate any more than that at the moment. On the inside, it has those seminal vesicles, which are currently in my paper towel. Kind of gross. It has the aortic arches. There are 5 aortic arches. It has the pharynx, which is the muscle from the mouth connecting the mouth to the esophagus. It has the crop, the gizzard, the intestine, and the septa. The septa is once again what's going to hold the muscles, or not hold the muscle, hold the organs to the outside layer of skin. Those are the things that kind of had to tear their like inner circle things as I was cutting through the worm. And then there are 4 things that we need to know really in depth about the worm, and that is how the worm is going to obtain energy, how it's going to use it, how it's going to transport it, and how it's going to excrete it. All right, so how the worm obtains energy. Guys, it eats dirt. It's going to eat the soil that contains that dead, decaying matter, hence it being a detrivore. It's going to use energy to perform all of its life's functions, even just eating, moving around, its own little locomotion, interacting with other worms, reproducing, all of that. It needs the energy to do those life functions. The energy is going to be transported via the digestive system. So, enters the mouth, goes to the pharynx, to the esophagus, to the crop, to the gizzard, to the intestine, out the anus. And finally, how does it eliminate energy? Out the anus. All right, that is all we have for the dissection. If you have questions, please make sure you stop in and see me during office hours. You can ask Ms. Jurgen as well. And I'm wearing a bird shirt because birds eat worms, and I thought that was kind of funny. Okay, guys, have a good one. And like I said, if you have questions, please reach out. Adios.